are live, baby. We are live. What's going on, Seminole family? How's everybody doing on this Saturday night? Me? Yeah. Me and the baby Noel here tonight, man. Entertain y'all. How's everybody doing? You got FSU official visits today. We got some FSU hoops we can talk about today. Where, man, Vassal was showing out today, y'all. You clapping? Yeah. It looks like what's going on, Kendrick. Gator Hater, what's up, man? And MB, what's going on? How's everybody doing? Thanks y'all for joining me on our Saturday Night Live. Kicking it. You gotta stop touching the mic, bro. No, don't touch the mic. No, don't touch the mic. No, don't touch the mic. It's not funny. Don't touch it. How's everybody doing, though? It's another day. Walt Bell, what up, brother? So, come on, man. The people can't hear me if you yanking the microphone. Play with this. Want to play with that? No? Okay. No. Well, I told you to get it. Yep, so it's me and the baby Noel today. We'll be hosting y'all tonight. And, I'm trying to see if there's any updates on the some of the official visits we had today. I know I talked about two guys for sure. I talked about Lundy. He was confirmed to be on campus. I talked about, who's the other guy? Shoot, I forget off the top of my head now. Lundy and TJ Davis. Didn't see if he showed up or not. And then they had one more guy, a 6'3", 200-pound safety from Alabama. Can't think of his name off the top of my head. He's supposed to be on campus tonight. And quite frankly, the recruiting's pretty much done now, guys. Hey! What? What's the matter? You can't do that or you're gonna break it. Or is your finger stuck in it? I don't know what you're trying to... Yep. Better? Jesus. I done forgot what I was talking about. Let me go to the comments. So somebody want to act crazy. Said, bro, imagine if we land Weidman. My gut says Weidman doesn't come, but I'm not worried. So yeah, let's talk about Weidman since you guys brought it up. Malachi, man. I don't think, I'll be honest with you, I don't think to me it doesn't look good for Malachi. I don't think we're gonna get him. I want him. As of right now, he's probably the only prospect. Thanks a lot, man. He's probably the only prospect left that I would say like I officially want. like I always talk about his crazy athleticism. He just got things in his game that you can't teach. And if you can coach that kid to be a good wide receiver, run good routes and all that, whoo, I think you might have a superstar in your hands. Boy, stop. But at this point, to me, it's not really trending in a positive way. I don't know if the in the home visit has happened yet or not. Regardless, he said he wanted to get the coaching staff to answer some questions for you. I'd be curious to what those questions are for Weidman. This little guy is getting on my nerves. I'd be interested to know what those questions are. I don't know. I don't think Weidman is coming on board. I just really don't. And bro, you about to cut the screen off. What? Can we just relax? Can you sit down? You're not gonna sit down and relax, are you? You're not gonna do it. But yeah, I don't see him. I don't see him coming, to be quite honest with you guys. So that's just really my take on Weidman. I think sometimes people don't vibe, and there just may be something with this coaching staff that he just isn't a fan of. Couldn't tell you. Little shorty Low here is just tearing stuff up. So excuse the rugrat. I'd love to, but I'd love to be surprised. Yeah, I mean, I would love to I'd love to come on here and be like, yo, we got him. I just don't see it happening, to be quite honest with you. I think he's taken too many visits. He's obviously entertained too many other coaching staffs, and so there's something he's looking for that I don't think FSU's offering him. Maybe that's that ching ching, maybe that's the bag. I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. Yo, what is up? You can't play with that, or you're gonna cut it off. Here, want my phone? No, you don't want my phone. All in all, solid class. It is a solid class. You got a good mix of, I think you just got a good mix of some guys that are, bro, as soon as I start talking, you start tripping. Is your mic hooked up? I can barely hear you. I know you probably can't hear me because this dude here been touching everything. Can you stop? Let me test my sound. Hold on. Let's test it. And test the sound. Yeah. Make sure they can hear me. Hold on. But if you can't hear me, I'll keep talking in the meantime. But yeah, I don't think, I don't know, he's looking for something that I don't know if this coaching staff is offering. One thing about Mike Norvell and the staff so far that we've found out is they are not going to sugarcoat things with these kids. They haven't sugarcoated anything with them. I don't expect them to sugarcoat anything. And that's been pretty much a big theme with them so far. Yeah, so my sound's pretty good. Sounds good. Sounds good. But so yeah, Weidman, I kind of want to count him as a loss as of this point going forward. But we can have hope. I want him. But don't know how realistic that is at this point. he's obviously he's obviously looking for something out there. Okay, so everybody's telling me my sound's good. So all right, cool. What you can't tell me is that my kid is just tearing stuff up. Hey. Jesus. You about to get a whooping. You want a whooping? No? Okay. It'd be nice. Where are we at here? You see you acting crazy? Huh? Haven't heard anything about again, I haven't heard anything about the current official visits we got right now, so I'll keep a lookout on it. None of the guys I think on campus as of right now, as far as that can affect the 2020 class. I'm not sure we have any guy on that out there right now that is a immediate impact guy. Pretty much everybody from this point on, you're talking about project players, kids that probably contribute in 2 to 3 years. Definitely probably going to need a red shirt. Okay, you're getting down. Definitely probably will use a red shirt. Yeah, Lundy's on campus. I know that for a fact. Saw pictures of him being greeted by the coaching staff, and Lundy is on campus. I think with Lundy now, I need to watch Lundy's tape. Is Williams the safety, MB? I'm intrigued by him. I'm intrigued anytime I see a safety. 6'3", 200 pounds. Is Williams the safety? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I know there's a safety on campus right now, or supposedly taking a visit today. I remember his dimensions. I just can't remember his name. I could probably look it up right now. I just don't feel like it. And I know Kaufman, he's a 4-star on some sites, a 3-star on other sites. Kind of don't think we have. I don't know. I feel like Kaufman's I think they're saying Arkansas lean. But yeah, the safety. Yeah, Williams. I'm intrigued by him. But again, I think that might be a guy you need a couple years on. Lundy, I really got to watch his tape. I haven't watched his tape, but I've seen pictures of him. He's got like that bodybuilder type build. I'm a little hesitant when it comes to those type of linebackers. I did watch. Hold on, I take that back. I have watched Lundy's tape. It's just the tape I watched. They had him playing running back most of the time. And one of the issues I have with guys, bro, will you come on? One of the issues I have with guys of that bodybuilder type of stature, if you remember a guy by the name of Jeff Luck, dude was a beast he looked like a beast. Let me rephrase that. He looked like a monster, and was probably the stiffest runner I had ever seen. So I have a problem with these guys that focus more on the weight room because they tend to be super stiff. And from what I saw, Lundy doesn't have any breakaway speed. He got walked down in a lot of but we don't plan him to play running back anyway. I'm just talking. But I didn't see him make too many cuts. I'm not sure I don't know if Lundy could ever be a sideline to sideline backer is basically what I'm saying. He might be a good in the box type of inside linebacker. But in today's football, with 3, 4, 5 receiver sets almost every single play, you really want him, or you really want any backer for that matter, to be sideline to sideline, have good wiggle in their hips, good bend, And those bodybuilder types, man, they tend to not have that. So yeah, yeah. Most of his tape is running back, and that's what I remember watching. But I think they are recruiting him as linebacker. I'm not a fan of the stiff hips and the too, he's already 6'1", 230, and he looks like a grown man. How much, I think Lundy might be a type of guy. I'm not sure how much more his body's gonna develop. Like he's already, reminds me of Jeff Luck, and Jeff Luck was a 5-star, and everybody thought that dude was like the truth, and he ended up transferring to Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken, and didn't really get much playing time. He didn't get any playing time here, and that's basically just because he was too stiff in the hips. You say you want him because yeah. Now that's what he's known for more so than the football. He's known as being like one of Georgia's top wrestlers. Don't think that helps us on the football field much. And quite frankly, you never hear much about FSU's wrestling team, so I don't know about that either. But but yeah, I know he's like well known in Georgia for his wrestling. Like you said, elite wrestler in Lundy. But yeah, Sidney Williams, 6'3", 200-pound safety. Watch his tape. They use him a lot on the offensive side of the ball from the tape I watched. I actually was more impressed. So this is kind of crazy. So we get on Tuesday, who was it? Demore Tate? Is that what's his name? Williamson. I'm talking Demore Tate. No, it wasn't Demore Tate. It was Williamson we ended up signing from Tennessee. I can't even find it. But anyway, we signed Williamson. And I said in my my video I did midweek, I like Williamson more so. I like him more so as a there we go. I like him more so. Darian Williamson. I like Darian Williamson more so as a safety from the tape I watched. He looked like he was a lot more instinctual defensively. And I thought he was a good tackler, a hard tackler. And his offensive tape wasn't bad, but to me he stood out more on defense. I kind of think Sidney stands out more on offense. So I think those two are two interesting prospects. Both are 6'3", one's 190, one's 200 pounds. So good stuff there. These dual sport athlete guys seem to pan out well. We'll see. Again, I don't know where wrestling or how wrestling translate to the football field. And Lundy, to me, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, Lundy's probably a 5-star type player. But just the way the game is, if he's not sideline to sideline as a linebacker, you're doing yourself a disservice. So that's just kind of my take on Lundy. Not against having him. I just don't know. I'm just saying. I don't. From what I watched, I don't see the bend in the athleticism per se to be a sideline to sideline backer. Bro, you just gotta bother this stuff. Hold on. I don't care. You can cry. A wrestler, yeah, they do know how to tackle and take down. My problem again isn't that Lundy isn't going to be strong or be able to tackle. Is he going to be able to catch anybody to tackle him? That's my problem. Or when a team goes 4 or 5 wide, you have to take Lundy off the field, obviously. What about matching Lundy up against a good tight end? Can he do that? Can he run sideline to sideline? That's my. If you look at most of the elite linebacker prospects throughout the years, most of them they're long and lanky, but they're skinny in high school. You're like 200 pounds, 205 pounds, 210 pounds. Then they fill them out, but they have that athleticism that you can fill the body out the right way. Again, my thing is Lundy's already 230, and he's only 6'1", so he's not 6'3", 230. He's 6'1". I don't know if his body. I don't expect it to fill out much more. He's probably what he's gonna be body wise as a player. How much speed can you add to a kid like that? Not too sure. That's all I'm saying. But I do agree. He's a good body to have. It's good, you know. And obviously, I'm nobody. He can prove me wrong, and the dude could, you know, be the next All-American here at Florida State. It's all my opinions. I'm just kind of going off kind of what I know about football. That's all. So yep, there's Lundy, Williamson, T.J. Davis. Haven't heard much on him. He's another one. He's like 6'3". He's like 6'3", 230 as a weak side defensive end. Did I watch his tape? I don't think I watched his tape. Walt Bell says totally agree. Exactly. Like Telvin came into Florida State super skinny, but Telvin was long and he was lanky and Telvin ran a 4.4. He was sideline to sideline, and that translated not only in college, but that translated to the NFL to where he was an all-pro. You know, and I know Telvin took a break this last season. I don't know, you know. I don't know if Telvin's going to play football anymore for personal reasons. But when the man was playing, he was an all-pro level linebacker. Derek Brooks is another one. You just go back off of the history. And Florida State and Miami are kind of two schools that started that speed. You recruit smaller linebackers, the Ray Lewises and the Derek Brooks of the world, and develop their body in college. But they were small kids. Small in the sense of they weren't 230, 240-pound linebackers. You know, is what I'm saying. Those guys eventually, their bodies grew and all that. But if you look at when they were recruited, you know, if you tell me that a 6'1", 230-pound kid is still growing, which way is he growing? Is he growing up or out? Because if he's growing out, I'm not a fan of. Because, again, I watched his tape. He's not extremely fast. Not fast at all, really. He's definitely powerful. It's just, again, it's like Jaleel McRae is like 240-something pounds, I think he's like that. But Jaleel McRae's like 6'3", 6'4". This guy's short and stout. And if he's not fast sideline to sideline, I don't know. That's all I'm saying. But who knows? Yeah, the 2021 class is shaping up, man. I think that's really, at this point, I can say in confidence that I think they're really focusing on the 2021 class as of now. Again, Weidman's the big fish out there for us. Weidman's the big fish. If you can get Weidman, that's the big get. As of right now, everybody else is kind of just like, I guess, icing on a cake, if you would call it that. Again, I don't think there's any game changers left other than Weidman as that we're targeting. And what? Yeah. So just me and the kid today. So that's what I'm on babysitting duty. Yeah. But I think the 2020 class is about all done. And it's not a bad class. It's not a bad class. It's not like we got a bunch of scrubs. I actually think the 3 stars we have, some of them are better than I think people think. What I like about the majority of the 3 stars that we have they are in the mold that I was just talking about. Tall, big body. Like we just recruited a athlete, another one out of Tennessee that was friends with the Williamson, friends with Darian Williamson, Marquise Douglas. This kid is 6'5", 255, but he is a basketball player. And he can move. Like when you watch him, he can move for a kid his size. Obviously, as a basketball player, he's got athleticism. I like the guys that they brought in. I like. They are big with chances to fill out. It's all about the frame, I think, personally. This is my opinion. It's all about the frame of these kids when you start talking about whether they're still growing or not. Like Marquise Douglas, if he's not going to be a linebacker, probably can develop into a hell of a offensive tackle because the way he can move. 6'5", 255. Darian Williams, 6'3", 190. I personally like him better as a safety or even a linebacker. But, if they want to use him at wide receiver, we'll trust the process as for now. But we got a lot of kids like that, which is what I like. A lot of kids like that. It's not a bad class at all. You got your elite guy and Demore Tate. Chubba Purdy moved up a ton of spots in the final rankings. So we got some good stuff, man. We got some good stuff. And speaking of Chubba Purdy moving up, y'all know that Jeff Sims fell to a 3-star, man. It's not to knock Jeff Sims, but it does point out, I think, how well Norvell has done so far. Like, Chubba Purdy moves into the top 200 nationally, overall players. Jeff Sims drops to I don't know, I think it was 500 something in a 3-star nationally. And we all thought Jeff Sims was the future of this program. I think it's safe to say we all were excited about Jeff Sims as the future of this program. Because, let's face it, we haven't had good quarterback play in about 3 years. But yep, Tate jumped up to a top 30. Again, a legit 5-star. Purdy is the top 200, 191 to be exact, 191st ranked player. Weidman also jumped into the top 150. But it still remains to see what we get from there. All right, Kendrick, man, I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me, dog. So yeah. Sims falling that far is kind of shocking to me, though. He was going to be... Yeah, I'm just being... Exactly. And he's just doing what he wants to do while I'm talking to the folks. But, yep. All in all, man, there's a lot of good news going on for Florida State. I mean, we really had a good recruiting week. I know people want to talk about the stars, but sometimes I always say it's a mix, right? I don't agree. I don't agree with the notion that stars don't mean anything. That's not true. Stars just don't mean everything. You need your 5 stars or your top blue chip 4 stars. You need guys like that. You're kidding yourself if you think you can recruit a team of 3 stars and be competitive. Be competitive at an elite level. But what you also need with a good mix of that is your scouting and development. You can always find kids that, one of the biggest things Jimbo was, one of the best things Jimbo was really good at, that I think people kind of just gloss over, is early on in that program, before they all went to the sunken place, before that national championship, it's pretty much after the national championship where that whole Jimbo's program went to the second place. But before then, I'm telling you, go look at the players that we had drafted that became All Americans. And some of those guys where they were recruited at. Not everybody we had was a top tier, Xavier Rhodes has been an All Pro in the NFL for a couple years now. I think he had a down season this year. I bring Xavier Rhodes up because he was a 3-star wide receiver. Somebody said, "Oh no, we can make you a corner." Cam Irving plays in the Super Bowl tomorrow. You know what Cam Irving was? He was a 2-star defensive tackle. Brian Stork won a Super Bowl with the Patriots before injuries derailed his career. You know what he was? He was a 2-star defensive end. And I can keep going. Like, that staff that Jimbo had, they did a damn good job. Bjorn Warner was like a unranked player coming out of Germany. I think he eventually became like a 3-star, but he was an unknown coming out of Germany. All-American, first-round pick. Telvin was almost only a 3-star. Telvin. Hell, half of the offensive line, other than I think Bobby Hart was like the only legit 4-star on that national championship offensive line. Everybody else was pretty much an unknown prospect. My whole point and the whole thing I'm getting at is if you have a good, you get your 5-star in Jameis Winston, but you scout and you develop your offensive linemen. You get your 5-star in Jalen Ramsey, but Terrence Brooks, who played safety next to Jalen Ramsey that year, only a 3-star. That's all I'm saying. Like, you had to have a good mix of your 4 and 5 stars, your elite recruits, and then you just gotta have that eye to say you're good, And I looks to me, I think Norvell might have that same type of skill. We won't know until these guys get on the field, but I think he might have that same type of skill where he's looking at some of these guys and he goes, "Yeah, I can do something with you." So we'll see. We'll see, man. It says a lot. It's interesting to me that Norvell kind of moves on from Sims, and he realizes, and then all of a sudden Sims falls to a 3-star. It's like, well, obviously he made the right decision when he did that. Hey. Uh-oh. But yeah, what else we got going on, man? FSU, the basketball team, played a damn good game today. Vassell was on fire, man. That dude wasn't missing. I think he ultimately was like 8 for 10, but he made all of his 3-pointers. Vassell was hooping today. I was watching that game. Good to see, the basketball team get back on the right track. I told you I didn't think the Virginia game was a big deal. You're going to take losses every now and then. That top of that ACC, though, man, is tough with Louisville, Duke. We already beat Louisville. I don't even think we've played Duke yet, if I'm not mistaken. I think the top of the ACC is going to be tough, man. With those 3 teams, Louisville, Duke, and ourselves. Oh, man. But it is Super Bowl Eve, man. What y'all think about this Super Bowl? Like, we got a lot of stuff we can talk about. What are you doing? Me, I'm just home, alone, with the baby Noel. We just kicking it. I was watching some other live streams for a little bit, and I just decided start my own. Usually wait till about 9 o'clock at Eastern time. About 9:30 is when I start my Saturday night lives, man. Nobody wants to play us. We are a nightmare. If you're talking about basketball, yeah, I think I'm glad we don't have to worry about Virginia anymore. That's our toughest team, I think, and that's because they play a sloppy brand of basketball. defensive. They've been like that. I mean, they were like that when they won the national championship last year. So I'm glad we don't have to really worry about playing those guys anymore. I'm interested to see how we play against Duke. Walt, what's up? He says, "Hey, what's your opinion on the subpar O line play since 2014? Do you have a theory or any idea?" So I have an so if my initial theory, okay, 2014 is when 2014. That's our last decent offensive line. Obviously, we had the national championship winning team. The problem that happened in 2014 is we lost the Remington Award winner in Brian Stork, and he was obviously the glue of that offensive line. That offensive line came back together when we moved Cam Irving to center and Rod Johnson as a true freshman to left tackle. They got their stuff back together. But since then, I think and it's not just the offensive line, I think it's the entire team, 2015 and on. Because FSU recruited numbers on the offensive line. I think the problem that Jimbo and company started doing after the national championship, they thought they were Alabama. See, Alabama recruits at such a ridiculous rate. They can afford 1 or 2 5-stars to be a bust. Because they got 2 or 3 backing them up, coming to take that spot. We started trying to, instead of scouting and developing and picking the right players, Jimbo started star hunting. And just going, okay, this guy's got a bunch of stars. This guy, and I think he missed out on talent that was hidden. He forgot what got him there, is what I'm saying. Look at a Jawan Williams. This was a kid that had a high ranking. He was a legit 4-star offensive tackle prospect. And he's probably been one of the worst ones I've ever watched play football. And just because he was athletic, no, you didn't scout him and go, well, does he have the desire to be great? Is he strong? You know what I mean? And I think, you can just kind of go across the board at every position. Ermon Lane, 5-star, right? But what elite traits did Ermon Lane have? He wasn't fast. He wasn't super big. He was like 6'3", and he was like 190 pounds. Where was the 5? You just started recruiting stars, and all of a sudden, guys didn't pan out. Instead of, we're doing what got you there. That's kind of my take on it. Jimbo went away from what got him there. Yeah, Duke's always going to be a tough matchup, Gator. Like you said, just because of Coach K. Plus, they got some legit guys. What? What? But that's my theory on everything that happened. That's not just the O-line, though. That's just my theory on the program after the national championship. Jimbo started feeling himself. He started thinking he was Nick Saban. And not only did the kids lose the hunger, I'm a believer that the coach sets the tone. And I think one of the things that makes a guy like Nick Saban great is that he's never satisfied. The Bill Belichick's, do they ever look satisfied? Do they ever look like they're happy? Even if they're up 40? They're up 40 and a guy misses a block. They act like they're down 40. You know what I mean? And I feel like Jimbo got satisfied. Of course, Jimbo has some other stuff going on in his personal life around that time that maybe made him lose the focus. But ultimately, I just feel like the kids got satisfied and they got it from their head coach. And that's ultimately, I think, what led to the downfall of what could have been, we should have been on a Clemson-style run at that point. The truth is, we probably should have won 3 straight national championships, if we're being honest. I think if Jameis Winston starts as a true freshman, we win with that team. EJ Manuel had a stacked team then, and he's one of those quarterbacks where if you're not wide open, like how Jameis would, and any good quarterback for that matter, you throw your receiver open, right? Your receiver doesn't have to be wide open for you to throw him the ball. You anticipate where the receiver's going. You put the ball in a place that gets the receiver open. EJ Manuel, man, he would wait. And if you weren't open, he wouldn't throw you the ball. Like, you had to be wide open for EJ. EJ used to frustrate me so much because he was a guy that had talent. And he just wouldn't let the ball go. I think if Jameis starts as a true freshman, man, I think we could have won 3 straight. And had that team kept that hunger, we should have won the year, the first year of the playoff. I've heard a different theory from another podcast. It has a lot to do with O-line coach Rick Trickett. Are you familiar with any of that? The only thing I personally can say about the Rick Trickett deal is, if I remember correctly, from what I've read, Rick Trickett. Here's the thing: Rick Trickett had been Jimbo's offensive line coach for the whole time, but Rick Trickett coached the offensive line. Hold on. Rick Trickett coached the O-line a different style, if I'm not mistaken, than what Jimbo wanted to run. But I can't really, in my personal opinion, I don't know, can you use that as an excuse when they won a national championship doing it? I don't know anything really more than that, though, to be honest with you. So if it's something more, man, you can feel free to share it, and we can definitely talk about it. But I do remember hearing some stuff about Rick Trickett and Jimbo not being on the same page of the blocking scheme. But again, they won a national championship doing it. I think it just came down to getting the right guys, right? So if your scheme is one way, recruit to that. And they just stopped doing that. Again, but that's just my opinion on it. I don't think some people just got complacent in the organization. That's really what I think it boiled down to. Complacency. But y'all smash the like button if you're in here. If you're in here, I appreciate you for showing up. It is our Saturday Night Live, where we talk about any and everything Florida State related, or anything for that matter. It is February 1st in 2020, man. Didn't the month of January suck? That was a tough month. Man, January was a tough month. They talking about World War III in January, Iran, and all this other foolishness. We lose a legend. R.I.P. Black Mamba. January, 2020 just started off with a big, middle finger to the world. Let's hope Black History Month, February, could be a little better. But let's not bank on it. Crazy. Tough start to 2020, to the new decade. But yeah, boy, if you have any insight or anything you remember from that podcast that you want to bring up, that's an interesting topic that we can talk about. There's a lot of things that went into the downfall of the program. It could have been something between Rick Trickett and Jimbo, but quite frankly, one of the other things that went to that downfall was Jimbo not wanting to get rid of guys. Lawrence Dawsey wasn't a good wide receiver coach, but he refused to get rid of him. Charles Kelly, hell, in hindsight, Charles Kelly was 10 times better than anything Harlan Barnett ever was. But I just think when you go from Pruitt to Kelly, you saw the dip, and he didn't. It didn't seem like he ever tried to improve it, you know. And if Rick Trickett at that point, if there wasn't some friction between Jimbo and Trickett, man, make the move and get rid of him. Right? I mean, that's just my opinion. Same thing I say about Willie Taggart, I'm gonna say about Jimbo. Like, if you feel like a guy on the staff's not getting it done, move on from him. If Jimbo and Rick Trickett weren't on the same page, move on. But Jimbo refused to move on, same way Willie refused to move on from his friends. And one guy's making a ton of money at A&M, but being mediocre. And the other guys at FAU probably going to be mediocre. So that's just what it is. You playing the piano? Yeah. But yeah, it's just what it is. Chris Hughes says his B-Day, February 6, 86. That's what's up, man. So your birthday in a couple days. What, you gonna be 34? Right? You're gonna be 34? Because I was born in 88 and I'll be 32 in April. So you'll be 34. That's what's up. What you doing for your 34th, Chris? Any plans or just getting older like the rest of us? Me personally, I'm thinking about hitting a Vegas in April for my birthday, not gonna lie. It's looking like a plan. What else we got tonight, though? What else we got? Let me think. So, yeah, if you're just joining the stream, man, we talked a little bit about some of the official visits tonight. Lundy, Sidney Williams, TJ Davis, which I haven't heard whether or not he's on the campus yet, but I know he's supposed to be. Yeah, a good Gator. A Gator old ass. He graduated in 86. Man. That's why you the OG. Word on the street is he was really verbally tough. And over time, he really wore the guys to the point where players would have told recruits to be careful when considering FSU. Okay, I did hear something about that. But I can't. Honestly, I can't. That's just the nature of today's kids, man. Like, I'm not. It just depends on what kind of cloth that you're cut from. Because me personally, I don't have a problem with tough love. That's just me. I do know, Tricker. I know he's a former Marine, so it makes sense that he would be tough, but it has to be more than just that, because the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. And when you're getting results, man, kids will come play for you. And he wasn't that tough. Because FSU was still recruiting FSU was still recruiting decently on the offensive line. You still had recruited guys like Lander Dickinson, Juwan Williams. Again, Juwan Williams turned out to be a bad player, but he was a good recruit. He was a top recruit. So, I'm pretty sure he was tough. He was a former Marine. So I don't know. I don't feel sympathy for stuff like that, man. Man up. This is football. Get coached up. That's what we do here, man. We get coached up. I done seen Dabo and Nick Saban just get in a guy's face and kill him. That hasn't hurt them at anymore. And they're doing that on live TV. I've never seen Rick Trickett do that on live TV, so I don't know. Whether or not, it's not that I don't believe it. I believe he was a hard ass, but it's just I don't know. I don't know if that affects the kids, so to speak. I don't know. I don't feel sympathy for it, is all I'm saying. What are you doing? Hell, Mickey Andrews was a tough ass coach too, from what you hear. But then again, those are different times. Maybe Rick Trickett style, that worked back in the '90s. I mean that is something to consider. To be honest with you, kids are a lot softer nowadays, and these kids want to feel important. They want to stop. These kids want to be catered to and coddled. So it makes a little bit of sense. It does. I don't care. I'm trying to keep you from hurting yourself. Yeah, these millennials are different. Exactly. Yeah, these new kids are different. Like I know back in the day, you took your ass chewing and you moved on and you learned from it and got better. Kids get cussed out nowadays and they don't know how to handle it. So but I'm also a believer of that I forgot what I was about to say. I forgot. What the hell was I about to say? You made me forget what I was about to say because you whining. What was I about to say? There's a big difference in Mickey Andrews, Bobby Bowden, and Jimbo Trickett and Taggart. No, what I'm saying is the hard assery. I didn't even bring up, Bobby Bowden and Jimbo. What I'm saying is Mickey Andrews and Trickett, both known for being hard-nosed coaches. That's all I'm saying. Like, in the 90s, it worked. Is what I'm saying. That worked in the 90s. I guess in the 2020, I guess 2000s, I guess it doesn't work anymore. You can't just, talk to these kids however you want to talk to them is what I'm saying. But I had a point I was going to make, and I forgot it. Maybe it'll come back to me. There's nothing in there. Man, you're fat. Mom and daddy yell at the kids, and they say, oh, I'm calling. Yeah, pretty much. That's seemed to be what's going on nowadays. Man, this bothering me. I was going to say something, and I can't remember what I was going to say. But yeah, I think, there's just a whole bunch of things that attributed to what happened with the program. Where we could have been, probably where we should be. And ultimately we're maybe we're back to where we're back to step one, new head coach, new staff, got some new kids. This was the point I was gonna make. We're talking a lot about the offensive line and how bad they've been for a while. Facts, but I don't think look at the quarterback play, has been just as bad for that same amount of time. We haven't had good quarterback play either. What are you doing? Quarterback play hasn't been any better either. And I think they both attribute to each other. I think a good quarterback makes your line better and vice versa. We haven't had a quarterback to help those. I saw games last year where the offensive line handled themselves fairly well, gave the quarterback plenty of time in the pocket, and Black would just hold it and hold it and hold it and hold it. Like, your quarterback has to help your offensive line. And I don't understand why the offense wasn't simplistic to the point where you have two reads and then you either run or get rid of the ball. And if it was, that just shows me that I don't need to see Blackman anymore because he couldn't do it. I need to read one of the wide receivers, running back or somebody in the flat, a tight end. If neither one of those options are there, I need to run or go somewhere else with the ball or get the ball out my hand, move on to the next play. And Blackman would just hold it. Like, you don't have a good offensive line. Yet you think you have 7-8 seconds back there to make a decision. Like, Blackman didn't play very intelligent. When you don't have a good quarterback, when you don't have good quarterback play, offensive line's weaknesses get exposed that much more. So that's what I was going to say. I just thought about it. They both go hand in hand. Any updates on the trail? I haven't seen any updates on the trail. Where's my phone, son? You don't know? Okay. I gave it to you. You lost it. Sounds about right. I remember a time where you can go pick a switch off a tree. Yeah. I had to do that, Gator. If you're, I would say, like 30 and up, you live that life, but as time has gone on and people have gotten more in other people's business, like, I know people that are even scared to, like, chastise their kids in public, and I don't, I've seen parents, kid is just in the middle of the grocery store acting up, and I think they don't know how to, or they don't want someone to be like, hey, you can't do that, because that's the kind of society we live in now. Everybody's in everybody's business. You can't do anything unless somebody's like, you can't do that to him. And half the time it's people that ain't even got kids try to tell you how to raise your kids. So, the world's gotten softer, man. That's for damn sure. When I played, when I played like Pop Warner and stuff, everybody didn't get trophies. If you didn't win, you didn't get a trophy. We would have our banquet at the end of the year, and you'd get like that trophy. But there wasn't no, like, my daughter cheers for this Pop Warner League now. Everybody goes to the playoffs. You could lose every game, and everybody still goes to the playoffs. I'm like, well, what's the point? But every team goes to the playoffs, and so there's times when a team loses every game throughout the year, and they go to the playoffs, and they might win a couple, and all of a sudden, like, they're in that Super Bowl. Like, every team goes. It's ridiculous. The sports have gotten ridiculous. In my humble opinion, we can't truly know what we had in Francois or Black with those poorest O-lines. I can't disagree, but I can't totally agree with that either. Yeah, we won't know what we truly have. But again, like Gator said, they go hand in hand. Francois Francois was a little better, I think, than people give him credit for. Francois, we saw kind of what Francois could do the year before he got hurt in that Alabama game. I think Francois kind of regressed after that. Um, Black, I just don't feel like ever played the game intelligently enough. Don't throw it again, please. Thank you. But again, welcome to Saturday Night Live, man. Going on an hour strong. Does not have the mentality of a QB, but he can sling it. Right. MB, you talking about Black. I agree. I think he's got an arm, but he has... he's too emotional. And emotion can be a good thing. But it can't be so... Your emotions can't be so bad that you have to be... You're crying on the sideline, and a player has to come to you and calm you down. You can't lead anybody like that. And that's kind of where I'm at on Black. Like, I don't really need to see Black anymore from that aspect. Like, I kind of know what I'm going to get. Has an arm, not very accurate, and he lets things snowball. If he has a good game can turn into a great game with him because he lets things snowball. He could throw a 3-4 touchdown game. If he throws a pick, he's likely going to throw 2 or 3 more. Because he just lets things compound on each other. But he got an arm. I'll be interested to see if how much of a shot Norvell gives him. Because that was a topic that was brought up this past week. What do you think this coaching staff's biggest hurdle is going to be going into next year? You can't play football up and down like that. You can't do anything like that. You can't live your life like that, right? You can't be super depressed one minute and then off the walls like you snorted a line of coke the next. Like, right? You gotta kind of be even keeled throughout your life. Like the good times are the good times, the bad times are the bad, but you can't never get too up and too down because you know everything changes on a whim. You can't. And he didn't know how to reel that in or control that. And that kind of, that led to, and that bowl game was the perfect firestorm for all that. Like, you just could see it all play out in that bowl game. Yeah, I think we need to just move on from him, too. I'm interested, like I was going to say, I'm interested to see how much of a shot for now, James Blackman is still on the roster. I think after that spring game, depending on how much of a shot he really gonna get, he probably will transfer. Me personally, what? Me personally, I think we've seen our last game. Of James Blackman, but we'll see. But yeah, I was talking about the biggest hurdle going for the staff. And me personally, I know like a lot of people are like, the offensive line, but that's kind of an obvious answer. But me personally, I'm still of the belief that it's the quarterback. I think the quarterback position is the biggest hurdle going into next year. We got to find the right one. I don't know who the right one is. But we got to find him. For me, it's Purdy, Chubba. But I also understand Chubba Purdy is not an early enrollee. Chubba Purdy won't be on campus till most likely the summer. And Chubba Purdy will only have a fall camp to really compete for that job. I'm not sure if a true freshman is going to win that job off of just the fall camp alone. Tate Rodemaker is an early enrollee. But that doesn't mean that he's the best option. Jordan Travis, we know he can run. Has anybody ever seen Jordan Travis throw the ball more than 10 yards? Because I don't think the tape's out there. No one knows if this kid can throw, but we know he can run. How does that type of quarterback get used by Mark Norvell? And then for me, the wild card is Wyatt Rector. He's still on the roster. I've seen him in the workout videos, lifting weights and all that. Big boy. He got rave reviews as the scout team quarterback last year. A lot of people said a lot of good things about him. I'm interested to see how that goes, how that transpires. Hey, man, I got 10 people watching me. If you just joining, man, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it, man. Hit that like button. We just here chopping it up about whatever. Right now, we're kind of talking about the biggest hurdles for FSU going forward next year. But and anything y'all want to talk about, man, just drop it in the chat, and we start watching. We start talking about it. MB says Blackman may start versus West Virginia, but at some point Purdy's going to take over. See, yeah, that's another thing I was thinking. Maybe you do go with Black to start the season, similar to what Clemson did with Bryant and Trevor Lawrence. But you have to also understand that once you make that move, there's no going back to Blackman. We've already just sat here and agreed Blackman is not strong here. You know, Clemson was you let Kelly Bryant go. You benched him for Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor Lawrence was and is, one of the top quarterback prospects we've seen in the last 10, 15 years, right? I think it's safe to say that. Not too sure Purdy's that. You can't make that move, Purdy not be what we might have thought he was, and think, well, we're going to go back to Blackman. Oh, hell no. You might as well cancel the season if that's the case. I do think that's an option. I would almost be like, if that's the case, though, just start Purdy from day one. Let's take our lumps and grow as a team. But we'll see. Yeah, Gator says we can't afford to lose the West Virginia game. So if Black's the best we got against them, we're in trouble. Yeah. If Black's the best option against West Virginia, we might very well be in trouble. Even though I'm not too sure how good West Virginia is. When have any of us watched him play with a good or decent, okay service or O-line protection? I think he's a head case as well. We wouldn't be too if we played behind that turnstile for 2 years. Again, you're not necessarily wrong, Walt. But Black doesn't do himself any favors. Right? Like, okay. Let's say you got a car. And you know your car can't go above 30 miles an hour without shutting down on the side of the road. Would you drive at 40 miles an hour? Probably not. And if you did, why get mad when it breaks down? Because you know, if you're Blackman, you know your offensive line isn't A1. Yet you think you can sit back and hold the ball for 5, 6. Like, people don't realize, 5, 6 seconds, that's a long time for a quarterback to be in the pocket. Usually, man, you need to have that ball 1, 2, 3, and that ball needs to be gone. And I don't know if Blackman never got that. Now, there are times when it's not your fault and you get a sack. But I saw too many times where Blackman was the cause of his own sacks. So, like we said before, man, quarterback play and offensive line play go hand in hand. Black didn't do himself any favors. Gator Hater says, that's true, Walt, but if he throws interceptions, he's going to need intervention, and we can't start the season off on national TV with the Dr. Phil moment on the sidelines. That's another thing. That's right. Black hasn't had the best offensive line to work with. Got it. But if I go back into that Virginia game that we lost, offensive line wasn't the reason why Blackman missed like 2 key throws in that game. One was to Terry on the sideline where he was wide open by himself, overthrows him. Had the protection, missed the throw. Then you're driving down in the last drive to try to, I think it was either tie or take the lead. Trey McKinney's right there at the first down marker, completely missed the throw. That has nothing to do with the offensive line. Black gets in his own way. He starts pressing. He misses a throw or throws an interception. Like Gator said, time for a Dr. Phil moment because his mind starts doing, I got to compensate for the last mistake instead of just throwing the last mistake out. But that also has a lot to do with the fact that Black wasn't even getting the proper coaching, if we're being honest. Because I remember a young Jameis Winston who could get in his feelings a little bit too, and Jimbo would grab his ass by the face mask and say, hey, listen, focus, and let's get this done. So Blackman ain't getting the proper, who wasn't getting the proper coaching, and he just wasn't getting the proper help sometimes either. I think we can all agree on that. Part of me wants Blackman to go out there and ball. Oh, I want him to ball because I'm going to finish reading your comment here in a minute, MB. I want him to ball for a couple reasons. The biggest reason is he loves the university, he loves the school, he wants to be here, and he has the desire and will to be great. Like he wants it. When somebody wants something that bad, you kind of want it for him. So I want him to be good. Most of the time, hold up, I lost you. Part of me wants Blackman to go out there and ball out and magically fix. He's just no, yeah, and that's what I was just saying. But logic tells me it just won't happen. I don't know if he can ever get his. It'd be a testament to Norvell and Kenny Dillingham if somehow that dude's our starter next year and he just looks completely different. Not even from a talents perspective, just from a mental standpoint. If they can just reel him in and tighten up that whole brain of his, that'd be an accomplishment in and of itself. I got a new Seminole coming to my tribe due in the fall. Gator, you talking about something you got? Didn't you, Gator, don't you have 6 kids already? You better not have another kid on the way, man. He's a 3-star QB who plays like a 3-star. He looks like a freshman out there most of the time. Now on the deep and go, he looks like a franchise QB. Right. That's another thing about Black. Black was never supposed to be thrust into the fire like he was. You got to remember that. And unfortunately, he was. Black was a strictly project type of player. Black needed 2 or 3 years before he saw the field. So maybe he's right on time. Maybe he's actually right on time, and this is the year we see the growth. Walt says, I think your response is correct. But we all should remember that he was recruited to run a pro-star offense. That's true, too. He was recruited by a different coach to run a different scheme. And Willie T and Browse didn't do him any favors. We're going back to more of a, so Norvell runs more of a pro style, but it's a spread pro style. There's still no fullback. I got to go watch some more Memphis games. I can't recall if they huddled or not. But it pro style ideas with a spread look, I think, is what Norvell likes to run. So maybe he can do better in this type of what you got? Don't you eat that? No. I don't care. Don't eat it. Gator. But I'm not really sure we're going to have an O-line that will be able to protect him in a pro-style game 1. Yeah, I think Atkins has his hands. I think this is the year. So one of the things I was talking to somebody about, a friend of mine, was I think this offensive line could be sneaky better than what we think. Because we got some guys now that have been in the program developing for a couple years. Didn't I say don't put that in your mouth? And you do it anyway. You hard headed. And what I'm trying to say is, okay, so let's name, like, we can name the offensive line because we're pretty sure what it's gonna be. Left tackle's probably Washington. He was thrown in the fire as a freshman. Not sure. Come on, bro. Don't do that. You're gonna pull my microphone out. I would like to get a grad transfer for that. I don't think that's gonna happen. There is the UCLA grad transfer, but he plays guard. So let's go best case scenario. Let's say we land the UCLA kid, right? Let's go right to left. Right tackle, Devonta Taylor, FIU grad transfer. Right guard, let's go. Now, the UCLA kid is not a grad transfer, I don't think. I think he's just a normal transfer. He'll have 2 years of eligibility. If he got a waiver, he could play right away. If not, you could redshirt him and still save those 2 years of eligibility. So let's go with him. Let's just say he's on the roster. If not him, I think Ira Henry is the kid you put there. Ira Henry is a kid that when I look at him, he looks like a beast. Now, whether or not he can play a lick, I don't know. Center, I would go with Baselli at center. I think when I watched that team last year, and I thought they played better with Baselli at the center than Bavion. Right guard off. Man, did y'all see that? My damn microphone just flew off the hinges. Anything can happen here on Saturday Night Live. Anything can happen. Man, I thought the team looked better with Baselli. Donta Lucas, if he's healthy, he's your left guard. If not, maybe you mix a Brady Scott in there somewhere. And then left tackle, I guess, would be Washington. I mean, I don't know. That doesn't excite me, to be honest, once I say the names. But maybe you can, you know what I mean? Expect a little bit of an improvement. Let me go catch up on the comments. Because while my microphone went airborne, I got to see what y'all are talking about. Yes, I do have 6. But I have a new grand. Congratulations. Congratulations. But after last night, there. Uh-oh. Don't you do it. We don't need no 50-year-olds having newborns, man. Don't you do it. Joe Davis, man, what's up? I think this might be the first time I seen you in the stream, man. If so, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate you for tuning in. Grad transfer at the offensive tackle position will make all the difference along with tight end help at blocking. Right, yeah, blocking too. I heard Norvell likes to use his tight ends in multiple ways, including blocking. I don't know if we're gonna get another offensive tackle though, as a grad transfer. Like I'm not too sure. Not too sure we're gonna see that, but I do know we're in contact with the UCLA kid. I do know that. Norvell runs a lot of 12 with 2 tight ends and multiple. Yeah, I know he loves his running backs. He likes to split them out. He likes to do a lot of good and different things with his running backs. Yeah, Joel, tight end is really going to help out, I think. Plus, those formations are sneaky with the quick pass, which is another plus. Yeah, so we're all in agreement on Norvell just being a better all-around coach than what we had previously, obviously. Like, I think, like, I could watch a Willie Taggart called, or Kendall Browse. I'll put them in the mix. I could watch them call a game and almost call the game like before they snap the ball. Be like, oh, this is gonna be a screen. Oh, this is gonna be a go route to Terry. Oh, they're gonna hand it off to, like, you could just call the game as you watched it. You know what I mean? My wife just fell out. She loved your show, by the way. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it, Gator and Mrs. Gator. Like, I appreciate it. I just do my best. I just come out here, man, and just like to talk with you guys and give my opinion. No magic tricks with me. Just me, and it's what you get. Me and the baby Noel. Yep. Yep. Joel, what about the tackle from Vanderbilt? So the two from Stanford, I haven't heard anything on. The Vanderbilt tackle, I'm almost positive we're out of the running for him. I remember reading something that they reached out to him, but I think he's a Georgia Tech lean. He is really big into academics. Obviously, if he went to Vanderbilt, he's high on his academics. And I think he's originally from Georgia. And I think he wants to get his grad, whatever, his degree or whatever at Georgia Tech. That's what I'm hearing. And we still won games, because Cam Akers was a monster. It would have been very cool to see Cam Akers behind a better offensive line. MB. But yeah, you knew if you were watching the game, you knew what was coming. You knew the defensive coordinators knew what was coming. That's why when Jordan Travis started getting playing time under Bryles, it kind of changed the dynamic of the football team. I just wish the kid could throw. And I say this all the time. I'm not even sure he can't throw. They just didn't let him throw. Taggart and Bell play call was like the old Tecmo Bowl game where you only had 4. Yeah, you only had 4 plays. Go route, screen route, fucking quick slant, and then run up the middle. I don't think they ever did a quick pitch. They never. Oh my God, guys didn't run I don't know, in and out routes. It was just Terry. Screen past the mug to Trayshawn, or run with Cam Akers, or you do a go route with Keyshawn too, because he's a beast. I can't wait to see Keyshawn Helton come back healthy, man. I'm gonna be very interested to see what Norvell can do with a guy like Keyshawn Helton. Man, we got some good players coming back from injuries, guys. I think that's what has me so excited. You get Joshua Kando on the other side. If he can just live up to the 5-star status, you got something there. You get Woodbay back with Hamza. You get him back. Offensively, you're going to get Keyshawn back, all ready to add to, I think, should be a pretty decent wide receiver core. Every play took so long to develop. Because, I don't know, because they just weren't coached well. You still had false starts. You still had guys lining up. The most frustrating penalty to me would be the damn play where the wide receiver is lined up off the line of scrimmage when he should have been on the line of scrimmage. I played receiver. All you have to do is look over to the ref and he'll tell you where to be. And our guys didn't know how to do that. They didn't know how to look to the ref. You would look to the ref and you would point and say, I'm on the line, and the ref would either tell you to scoot up or get back. Our wide receivers, for whatever reason, didn't know how to do any of that crap. And you better not go in there. All right. Tecmo Bowl. Yeah, Bo Jackson was a beast in Tecmo Bowl. That's right, MB. That's not the QB's fault. No, it's not the QB's fault. Definitely not blaming James Blackman on those type of things. That's coaching. Our defense healthy in a 4-3 with Fuller's blitz packages will be nasty. I think so too. I like what Fuller does with the defense. I don't think Fuller's ever coached talent like this. That's why I'm so intrigued by it. And the guys are back to playing their natural positions in the 4-3. Nobody we had on defense was recruited to play damn 3-4. Why the decision was made to go to 3-4 never made sense to me. We didn't have the linebackers for it. We didn't have the defensive linemen for it. Secondary is, whatever. interchangeable in my opinion. Whether it's 4-3 or 3-4. Those guys really are scheme wise isn't going to change too much, but the 4-3 helps so much. Only question I have about the 4-3 is what do you do with Amari Gaynor? Because I thought Amari Gaynor kind of excelled in that 3-4 linebacker off the edge role. I don't know if he can be a stand-up outside linebacker, weak side or strong side. Not too sure, but maybe he can. I hope he can. Because I thought Amari Gaynor, for his redshirt freshman year, played pretty good. Gator, I have no idea. I know it was purposeful when Trey McKitty lined up facing the opposite way. I know that was purposeful. But it was such a bad look because not only the play didn't even work. So what was I don't get I don't know what they were trying to ever accomplish on that play. It's not like that play that the Gators had where their guys were blocking each other. That wasn't purposeful. So McKitty, what he did was purposeful, but I don't understand what they were trying to accomplish with that. With the new staff, who has impressed me the most as recruiter, can't really tell so far yet. I think it's a good thing. I think Atkins has done a good job. Anytime you can flip a kid from an SEC school, he's an Arkansas kid. Could have went to Arkansas or Ole Miss, and he chose Florida State. Quite frankly, if I had to give it to one guy, I'm giving it to Mike Norvell because it's either Norvell or Dillingham. I don't know who is necessarily responsible totally for Chubba Purdy. I think it's Dillingham, so I probably would give it to him because, again, we traded Sims, who's now a 3-star, for a top 200 overall player in Chubba Purdy. I don't think there's a bigger, recruit so far than Chubba Purdy from the new staff. Guys like Demore Tate, those guys are from the old staff. From the new staff, I don't think there's a bigger recruit than Chubba Purdy. I'm trying to think. You hear that, dog? Yeah, I don't think so. It's probably Dillingham might be the guy. Dillingham might be the guy so far. But I think David Johnson has done a lot of good things too. I know he was responsible for Corey Wren because the Louisiana ties, the Damian Webb. So that's another guy that I think done a damn good job. As a staff, they've impressed me recruiting. He was feared in the 4-3 defense. Gaynor will be used to be a sneaky on late. Yeah, I think so, Joel. I think you'll lose him in that. Because he excels in rushing the passer, you got to keep that a part of his game. But he's also, and if he's going to play 4-3, if he's going to be on the field, for a large amount of snaps, he's got to show he can cover. He's got to show he cover. But I think Gaynor has the ability to run sideline to sideline. But he's got to show that he can cover. But I think Gaynor's a damn good athlete. There's no excuse for us to not have one of the best defenses in the country. Yeah, no excuse. With Marv coming back, and you got a defensive tackle rotation of Marv. So your two starters, Marv and Durden. Then you still have Coop coming off the bench. True Thompson, who I'm so on. And I think this freshman man, what's his name? Let me look. I got it written down. Let me find him. The big kid, man. He's like 6'5", 230. That kid, I think he's good enough to get some immediate playing time, or for them to definitely work him into the rotation. And I'm trying to find his name, and I can't. Because, of course, when I want to find it, I can't. But if I wasn't looking for his name, it'd be sitting right in my damn face. Here we go. I'm talking about. Where are you, bro? Manny Rogers, 6'5", 239. I think that kid can get some burn, man, as a true freshman. You still got Briggs on the inside. I don't know if Briggs is how much weight he's gained, but you still got guys like Briggs. I mean, you got a lot of talent. Joel says Purdy is the Tebow body type with the better arm. I don't think Purdy's as big as Tebow, but Purdy's like, yeah, you bumped your head. I don't want it. You keep it. Thank you. Okay, I'll keep it. Here. But I don't think Purdy's as big as Tebow. But definitely throws the ball better than Tebow. And he can probably run in a similar fashion. Atkins has been the biggest surprise, at least. Atkins has been good. I think Atkins has been good. I wish we could have got St. John on campus tonight, but didn't happen. But Atkins has been good. That play basically sums up Florida State's coach at the time, and that was the exact moment when I determined that they must go. What play are you talking about, Gator? Are you talking about the play with Trey McKitty facing backwards? Right. I know it was purposeful, but what was the purpose of having a guy line up facing the opposite end zone? David Johnson has huge ties to Louisiana and South Florida. Yeah, I know he's from Louisiana. So, and I know he was recruiting Wren. And by the way, Wren got that 4th star. So for all the haters talking about Florida State only signing three stars, Wren, 10-4 in the 100 meters. Said he's aiming for 10-2 in the 100 meters. But Wren got that 4th star, man. So that's what's up. Why? MB says, we should really have the best secondary in the country. That line should be great, but that's secondary. So if you remember, it's all about Coach Woodson now. But at the time is why I said TJ Rushing would be the guy who I thought would benefit the most. You're getting a legit 5-star. Demore Tate can come in and compete for either one of those corner spots off the bat. You still got Asante Samuel. You still got Akeem Dent. Safety, we're assuming, and I hope you move Woodbay back to safety, and you get Hamza back healthy. Whew. I didn't even mention guys like Isaiah Bolden, who I thought played pretty good at times. AJ Litton, who I thought was vastly underused by the previous staff. Jarvis Brawley, who they used a lot. He was a true freshman last year. Like, you have so much talent in that secondary. I completely agree with you, MB. That secondary is... You still have Cyrus Fagan coming back. You've got a ton of talent in that secondary. Just let's get the coach and let's get a scheme that's going to use it effectively. Son, I can't read the comments if you're going to be doing that. If we happen to land Weidman, Dugans has done a really good job regardless whether we get Weidman or not. Weidman is just the overall, over-the-top, elite prospect. I wonder how much Weidman wants to play football versus how much he wants to play basketball. No. Just for that. I don't care. I can't tell, though, in regards to Weidman. I don't know how... I'm not sure what's his favorite sport. If I was him, I gotta see him. When I watch him on the basketball court, he's mostly just a dunker. I don't know what his shot's looking like. Putting the bias to the side, I would if if he's really good at basketball, I would recommend he play basketball just for the money standpoint. Guaranteed contracts and the whole 9 yards. But I'm a football fan first. But to be honest, depending on how good he is at basketball, I'd tell him to go the basketball route. Scary Terry was a 3-star. Bird from last year had 2-star. 3-star. Yeah. I talked about that earlier in the stream, Joe. I can go all in the FSU's last national championship 2013 and read off not only a bunch of lower star guys, but the guys that were initially recruited at one position and switched positions. That kind of became the trademark of Jimbo Fisher teams. Stars mean something, just not everything. Gotta have that good mix. People forget Dugans pulled Robinson. You got Robinson. He got that other boy from Louisiana, Ja'Kai Douglas. He's got the 6'4", 200-pound guy out of Palm Beach, Portier. Like, he's got some guys. Dugan's got some dudes. I didn't count Dugans only because I think the question was about the new staff of people recruiting. And Dugans is, he's actually part of the old staff. Which is why I went to Dillingham and David Johnson and even Coach Norvell. But we'll see how good Norvell is if he can close out on Weidman. We'll see how that one goes. And we talked about DJ Lundy already. We had a big discussion on Lundy. The chat seems to be kind of split on Lundy. Some people are high on him. Me, I'm on him. Only because I think he's a good body to have, but I just don't believe. Bruh. I just don't know if he's a guy that you're gonna have as a starter. We talked about Sidney Williams. I like his size and his athleticism. I like those long-rangey guys, man. You give me a guy that's 6'3", 200 pounds. In my opinion, after he leaves the program, that's depending on what position he plays, 6'3", 230, and can still move. I like guys like that. Joel says, Jimbo recruiting star ratings have always been filled with busts. See, and that's where I was talking about earlier. That narrative didn't happen though until after 2014. Then I can name you a ton of busts. The Ermon Lanes of the world and all of those. But leading up to 2013, that national championship team, Jimbo recruited a lot of guys that a lot of teams, including Devontae Freeman, again, Xavier Rhodes. He recruited a lot of guys that a lot of teams just dismissed. 2, 3-star guys that people were like, these guys are nobody. Xavier Rhodes, Devontae Freeman was unrecruited. And it wasn't until FSU gave him an offer that teams started taking notice of him. And then he got 4 stars at the end of it all. But he was an unranked guy when FSU offered him. Brian Stork was a 2-star tight end. And FSU turned him into a Remington award-winning center. Cam Irvin, 2-star defensive tackle. Jimbo's early tenure, they were not full of busts. He scouted and he developed guys at an elite level. Like Bjorn Warner is another one we can name. I can keep going. Hell, Jimbo made Christian Ponder a first-round pick. How the hell? 3-star. We can continue to go this route. He found diamonds. It wasn't until he won that he abandoned everything that got him there, and then you started getting a bunch of 5-star busts, the George Campbells, the Ermon Lanes, and we can just go on and on from there. Walt Bell says, so true, Joel. That was when the new staff will coach the talent up and hold them accountable. It's really hard to pick one over the other because each one has really done such an outstanding job in such a short time. We're 16th, to be honest. I don't think. Yeah, I agree, Gator. Like, everybody's holding their weight on the recruiting show. I agree with that. Son, why are you making a mess? It's okay. I'll clean it up. It's keeping you quiet. Tate bumped to a 5-star. Yep, Tate's a 5-star. Ren's a 4-star. Right. They moved. Remember, Carlos Williams, yep, he was a 5-star recruit. But he was pretty much a bust at safety, man. He couldn't get on the field. And then Jimbo was like, man, I'm going to put him at running back. And dude flourished from there. They did a lot of good things that early tenure. They were able to eye talent and put talent in the right positions. Hell, Telvin, only a 3-star. Terrence Brooks was a 3-star. Stop. So y'all excuse the son today because he just don't know how to act. Stop. You sleepy? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Gator. At the end, he abandoned what got him where he needed to be. He abandoned his... What did they say? He rested on his laurels, and he just started star hunting. Instead of scouting and evaluating, he said, oh, this guy's a 5-star, let's get him. And that didn't pan out. And it didn't pan out. MB says that's what happens when your wife is getting piped on the side. Yep. That can definitely mess up your head. No doubt about that, MB. Hey, man, I got 9 people in the chat. Smash the like button. Thanks for tuning in. We going on... Where are we at? An hour and 30 some odd minutes right now. We turned up, man. We got... Trying to put... Young no, I think he's tired. You tired? Yeah, I think he's sleepy. Yeah, he's sleepy. Gator, I don't think he was a Gator fan. I think he was a Gator like alumni. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't he a like a personal trainer and had got his degree at UF? I think he was. Why are you doing this to me, huh? Why are you doing this? I think it is nap time. But, of course, he's going to fight it. Yeah, here you go. Play with that. Yep. We are on Saturday Night Live, man. You are kicking it with the Polk County Nole. And as you can see, we are turned up here. He is losing his mind. I'm losing my mind, keeping up with him. We just having a great time. You notice how some FSU fans are impressed with Lane Kiffin's recruiting at Ole Miss. Honestly, I haven't followed Lane Kiffin's recruiting. Lane Kiffin was salty that we flipped Scott. He tweeted when Scott first recruited to Clemson. See, we was doing good, and then you had to no. When Scott first committed to Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin retweeted that commitment as after Scott flipped as a way to I don't know. Very petty for a head coach to do something like that. But that's what Lane Kiffin, he does those type of things. I haven't really followed it though, but I've heard he's done some good things. I mean, the SEC. Go and look at how they divvy up that money. Those SEC schools are going to be able to recruit because they have money to spend. But I actually haven't really paid attention to it. I've been more focused on Florida State and those guys getting the guys I want. Jimbo refused to fix coaching assistants problems. Yeah, he did that too. Jimbo refused to fire guys that I think probably should have been fired. Like how we talked about Trickett earlier. I believe Walt brought that up. You know, Jimbo refused to get rid of guys like Trickett. He refused to get rid of guys like Charles Kelly, like Lawrence Dossie. MB says, yeah, Ole Miss has trash class, but if you took it from Warchant, you'd think they had a top 5 class. Let me look it up. Let me see. Where is... Son, where's my phone? There it is. I'm going to see... Let's see where Ole Miss ranks in the recruiting rankings. Everybody, since we're talking about it, let's look it up. Let's compare it to Florida State's class. Because as far as I'm concerned... You know, Ole Miss recruiting. Yes, sir. You see yourself in the computer? So this is 247 is kind of my go-to website. I do look at Rivals too, but the composite rankings are kind of my go-to. I don't really pay too. Hold up, Ole Miss is ranked 40th in the nation. What are we talking about? Why are they even on? Why is Ole Miss even being a topic? I'm not trying to be mean. Like who they got? See, they got a Miami kid. They got Henry Parrish. He's not even a top 200, but he's the 4-star I see. They got... Man, he got a weird name. Jacovian Brown from Mississippi. He's top 300. Then you got Demon Clowney. 222nd nationally. Man, Florida State's killing that class. They are killing that class. I don't know. They only got 16 commits. Like, man, get out of here. Ole Miss is trash. Walt Bell says, what's your opinion of the coaching hires in the offseason? Do you think we did the best with Norvell's hire? How do you rank it? Yeah, so I think, so what I'm going to do is, I don't want to bring up the past, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare it to the previous head coach's hires and these hires. Here's what stood out to me about Norvell. He had guys leave big programs to coach with them. One. He had a diverse group of guys too. And he seemed to have hit on all his first choices. Now when I compare that to Willie, so he brought in guys that had recruited on the Power 5 level. And all of that. So when I go to Willie brought his buddies with him. Now Norvell brought some of his friends with him too. That's not uncommon. Let's go down the line. Walt Bell. I never had a problem with Walt Bell getting hired. Because at least Willie had a plan for Walt Bell. He wanted Loxley at first at OC. Couldn't get him. Walt Bell was his second choice. Okay, cool. At least you had a plan. My problem with Willie is you wanted Dugans. Now let's take in mind. Yes, he's a Florida State alum, but at that time Miami had just won 10 games. Ron Dugans was killing it on the recruiting trail in Miami. He had no reasons to leave Miami with everything trending upward at that point to come to Florida State. And he had no backup plan for Ron Dugans. And you didn't get a wide receiver coach. You had moved David Kelly to wide receiver coach. And yeah, that was a complete failure. I don't. What did Coach Pimpleton ever do to earn the job of being a running back coach? Telly Lockett was a good hire. Harlan Barnett was what we know. Harlan Barnett wasn't even the defensive coordinator at Michigan State. And then you had Raymond Woody, who's a good recruiter. You had Alonzo, what is his name? Alonzo Hampton. Oh my God, was he terrible? Oh yeah, and Greg Fry. He's done 10 times better job than what Willie did when he took over. Oh, and I didn't even mention this chief of staff that I'm really excited about this position being added to FSU's staff, this chief of staff position, because from what I gather from it, this is a guy who's going to control the day-to-day operations so Coach Norvell can focus on football, recruiting, and getting this team where they want to be. This guy can focus on fundraisers, meetings with boosters, getting the money that we need at the program. I'm excited about having this chief of staff guy, to be quite honest with you. I think Norvell's done a damn good job with the staff. I hated the Norvell hire at first, but after doing homework, I'm all in. I didn't hate the hire when it first was announced, but I didn't think you paid $20 million buyout for him, to be honest with you. That was my issue with it. I thought if you were going to pay $20 million buyout or $17 million buyout, whatever Willie's going to end up getting paid, if he hasn't been paid it already, I thought, now I never believed Bob Stoops was coming. But I thought if you could pull a James Franklin or someone like that, in hindsight, it's kind of good we didn't get James Franklin, because I think you kind of see what's going on there in Penn State. They're going through some stuff, off-field stuff. Point being, I thought that if you're going to pay that money, then you were going to get a big time, maybe a Venables, or you were going to pull somebody like that. But I'm with you on, after seeing Norvell, doing your homework on Norvell, seeing Norvell's interactions and how he's building a program, I'm all in on the Norvell bandwagon. I don't know. I see people on War Chant acting like Lane would have been a better hire because but he's not out recruiting us. I don't know what War Chant's one of those other than Michael Langston, who's on War Chant. I go for Michael Langston, does a real good job recruiting on the recruiting updates. He's really good. Other than that, I don't pay attention to the War Chant. That dude Aslan don't know what the hell he's talking about half the time, man, if we're being honest. They're not out recruiting us. And I never wanted Lane, and I'm glad we didn't get Lane. Lane doesn't... He's a clown show. It's a clown show. Even Vanderbilt's getting... Exactly. The SEC money is nasty. And then we finally get the ACC network, and it's not even, all cable providers don't even have it. So ACC's a few years behind the SEC. Hopefully, if the ACC can get it churning, we can start getting those big checks for the ACC schools. But the SEC money is just nasty. I live in Nashville, so I had a little bit more background on Norvell's coaching at Memphis. Okay, so yeah, Gator, you kind of knew more. You knew about him. Barnett was forced to run a defense he didn't like. Yeah, I agree, Joel. You forced that dude to run a 3-4. And he outward told you, I'm a 4-3 coach. And everybody's like, well, Jeremy Pruitt can adapt or Brent Venables can adapt. Well, obviously, Harlan Barnett ain't Jeremy Pruitt or Brent Venables. Like, there's only one Brent Venables in college football. There's only one defensive coordinator in college football getting paid $2-3 million. There was only one Jeremy Pruitt who came out of nowhere to be a great defensive coordinator, and now he's doing his thing as you hush. now he's doing his thing as a head coach. It actually looks like he's turning around that Tennessee program. Like, everybody's not like I've seen people comment about Brent Venables and how they're able to adjust. But everybody's not that. That's why there's only one Brent Venables. Because if everybody could be Brent Venables, damn it, every defensive coordinator will be making that money. So I hate that mindset. Oh, if this coach could do it, then this coach should have been able to do it. No, every coach can't do it. Obviously, Holland Barnett couldn't do it, and that's why our defense looked like it was done. And if Willie Taggart was a better head coach and a better manager of personnel, he would have ran things that his staff was good at. I only think Gators come from Gator. I think the only reason FSU fans Old Miss is because of that salty tweet link. I don't care about Lane Kiffin, and Ole Miss has never been a program worth a damn. War Chance is full of a bunch of pessimistic, wishy-washy fans. Yeah, they are. They sure are. Yeah, I would have very upset if we hired. Me too. I would have been pissed if we hired Lane Kiffin. Walt Belt says War Chant is War Chant. Michael L is solid. Yeah, Michael Langston's the only guy I like on that. Only guy I like. Michael Langston is solid. He gives good information. MB says, do you think Barnett was playing all those guys out of positions though, or was that Willie? That's a great question. Initially, I was thinking Barnett, but again, looking at hindsight, looking at the totality of the team, I'll answer your question with a question. Why didn't we see Jordan Travis until Willie Taggart was fired? It was obvious Jordan Travis could help us win football games. Regardless as if the kid could pass or not, it was obvious if you put a package in for him, he could run the ball. Now, I know he had to get cleared to play, but even after he was cleared to play, they didn't play him. All of a sudden, Willie gets fired, and Kendall Browse is allowed to do different things on offense, and Jordan Travis is out there running for 100-plus yards. Like, damn, where was this all season? So I think Willie had a lot to do with moving Woodbay to linebacker and all that BS. I really do. I think Willie was dropping the ball big time. And if he wasn't demanding that he do it, he was highly incentivizing it. I think it was Barnett. We didn't play anybody in position until the ASU game. Okay. But also remember, now you have to understand this about coaching. You have to understand this about changing schemes. At the time that Willie was fired, you couldn't go back to the 4-3. You can't change schemes in a week when you have to play games every week. The reason everybody didn't play out of position against ASU, we had a month to prepare. You could change your scheme back to what you wanted. It was obvious that Barnett was playing the type of football he wanted to play against ASU because he had a month to prepare. He had a month to say, okay, we're switching. They continued playing a 3-4 because you can't switch 3-4 to 4-3 on a fly in a week's time and think you can't do it. I tend to believe Willie had a lot of say-so on what was being. I think Willie was trying to do more than what he probably should have been doing. Whoever made our DBs play linebacker should be shot. I agree. If you were going to move any DB to linebacker, it should have been Hampson because of his size and his range and his speed. Woodbay was too. Woodbay didn't belong playing linebacker. And Gator says it was obvious we had packages for him. Yeah, but we never played him. And then all of a sudden Willie gets fired and Browse was throwing Jordan Travis out there. Not only was he throwing Jordan Travis, we didn't see Hornibrook anymore. So who really wanted Hornibrook? Jordan Travis needs to be moved to running back. He should either play running back or receiver. If he can't throw, he just needs to get the ball in his hands. Running back or receiver. Do you think the U is a threat to the ACC with King? Bobby, hell to the no. To the no. Miami's not a threat until they show they can win the Coastal. And the Coastal's so weak and Miami still can't win it. Miami's not a... Manny Diaz better hope they're a threat or he's going to be fired. Now, congratulations on them hiring Ed Reed to their chief of staff. But Ed Reed is being I don't even know if Ed. So after talking to some of my Miami buddies, Ed Reed is only there as an advisory. So what impact is Ed Reed even gonna make as a chief of staff if all you're gonna do is advise with no real power to do anything? Miami ain't gonna be anything until they show me differently. Damn, that was a good point, Polk. I think you're right about that time Barnett had to work with. I agree with you now. Yeah, I'm just saying, you can't, in the middle of a season, on a week-to-week basis, you can't just all of a sudden change from a 3-4 to a 4-3. But you get that month for the bowl game, and then you can make those adequate changes. Travis and Wren on the option play would be interesting to try every now and then. I still think if you're not gonna use Jordan Travis as a full-time quarterback, I still think you find a way to wildcat him. The dude obviously has natural running ability and can make guys miss. You still got to use him, in my opinion. Man, Miami's going to be very disappointed. I think so too, Gator. I don't see where Miami's going to be any different than what we've seen. From what we've seen. Son, what are you doing back there? But yo, we're going on 2 hours. We got 2 hours strong, man, on Saturday Night Live. If y'all want me to keep it rolling, just let me know. Got eight watching. I appreciate you if you're tuning in. Hit that like button if you haven't already. I ain't got nothing going on tonight, man, so I'm here for the long haul as long as I got people willing to listen to me. As long as we keep the chats going, I'm with it, man. I'm surprised King didn't follow Kendall Briles to Arkansas. But I can understand why you come to Miami. Or Coral Gables. Like I can understand why you make that move, though. Miami's got a few athletes down there. You've got an offensive coordinator now who's at SMU that you think maybe can use your skill set in a particular way. I get it. Hopefully, he has success, but I don't root against the kids. But Miami's problems go deeper than one or two players. Cause I know they got a good defensive end transfer, but Miami's problems are systemic. Miami's not committed to winning football. If they were committed to winning football, Alonzo Highsmith would have been hired as their chief of staff, and he would have been given the power to make real change. Bruh, come on. And man, he is a bad coach. But I told my Miami fans that, and of course I was a hater when I said it, but I said, man, Miami, that's a lazy hire. Manny Diaz was a lazy hire. I actually think Lane Kiffin would have been a good hire for them. He kind of fits the bill in Miami. I thought he would have brought some excitement to that program. Instead, you're stuck with Manny Diaz, who I don't think or know that he's good at anything. Bruh, come on. Yeah. Miami thinks every year will be a huge one because of transfer too. Yep, same results. I think King will really regret choosing you. Miami's a bad coach. No QB can make up for that. Yep. King is good, though. I just feel like he's going to get run into the ground or worse. Yeah, people forget in Miami don't have the best offensive line either. Their offensive line ain't that much better than ours. They have a bad one, too. So King probably going to be running for his life. Whatever happened to the top JUCO tackle we signed a year ago? Top JUCO tackle. Oh, yeah. Jay Williams. I'll tell you what happened to him. They got him on the field and realized that dude was not a good player. That's what happened. I know exactly who you're talking about. A lot of people were kind of excited about getting him. Thought we had something there. Yeah. His name Jay Williams. Turned out to not just he wasn't good. He wasn't ready to play. Weak from what I remember reading. Wasn't strong at the point of attack. Very raw technique wise. Had a lot to learn. He's still on the roster. He's still listed on the roster. It's still possible that maybe we, could see him if he progresses right. But he just wasn't ready to play. Even as a JUCO player, he just wasn't ready to play. Yeah, Jay Williams, he just wasn't ready to play. I don't get it because if I'm looking to go to NFL, I need to be on TV. Any team in the SEC would be on TV every week and advertise the hell. That's why the SEC is where they're at. Gator, they are in bed with ESPN. They've been in bed with ESPN for years. So when people talk about, the SEC is this and that, that's why these kids want to play SEC football. Because they're going to be on TV, and it don't matter what school you go to. Even if you go to irrelevant schools like Ole Miss, and Mississippi State, and Arkansas, and Kentucky, those teams still get more coverage than your Virginia Techs, than your Miamis, and until FSU started winning again, until your Florida States. One thing I will say, even though we've been down, FSU has still been on TV a lot. Because I stay in Hawaii and I can still pretty much watch every single FSU game on regular cable. You said Alonzo is the problem with Miami football? No, I said if Miami was smart, they would have hired Alonzo Highsmith. He's not the problem. Hell, he would have fixed it. And I'm talking about Alonzo Highsmith, former player, NFL exec. He would have helped them tremendously. They instead hired Ed Reed, who has none of those qualifications. But it sounds good. Ed Reed sounds good. Ed Reed and Miami back together, that just sounds good. And I think that's the only reason he was hired. FSU will be reprised with some people this season. So who are you guys' sleeper players to watch? Who do you guys think coming into this season are your breakthrough players since Bobby brought it up? Who are some of the guys that you expect big things from this season? Not counting Marvin, not counting Terry. Who are your breakout players? Baby wants some attention, Pope. Panama, I'm giving him. He don't want attention. He wants some sleep, but he's fighting it. He's fighting it. Oh, you fighting it? Yes, you are. You fighting it? You fighting it? He's rubbing his eyes. Joel says McCray. Okay. We need McCray to be a force at linebacker. We need somebody to finally step at linebacker. I agree with that. McCray. I like that. I'm going with Kane though, because I just feel like we need it drastically. We need somebody to rush the passer, and Kane Doe's 5-star, 6'5", 6'6", 250. Like, man, as long as he's healthy, I got Kane Doe. Mr. H.A. Double, what's up, man? I think this is my first time seeing you in here, Mr. Double. If it is, man, I appreciate you for tuning in. Hey, man, I always appreciate the people that chop it up with us on the Saturday night, right? Go night-night. And we got your host, me and Polk County Jr. Yeah. Kane needs to perform. Kane just needs to be healthy. And Kane hasn't been healthy since he's been on campus. That's what I'm saying. If he's healthy, I got Kane, and that's mainly just because we need it. Kane-Do's been hurt every single year, so hopefully we get a healthy Kane-Do. I personally think we beat the Sugar Canes there. Yeah, man, we should have beat them 2 years ago. We gave up that big lead. They were a worse team last year, and that's why Willie got his ass fired because you put up that performance against that caliber of football team. Yo. Martin due to our new linebacker. Very good. Yeah, I'm excited about having him as well. And yep, I agree with you, Joel. But I think McCray's a good pick though. McCray's a good pick. I wish Malachi Wyman would stop playing games and make a decision on whether he's going to come to us or not. Yeah, we talked about Malachi earlier. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the ship has sailed on Malachi. I could be wrong. Bruh, you don't hear me talking while you screaming. No. Stop screaming. I think Wyman's ship has sailed. I think he's entertaining too many different people, too many different programs, too many different coaching staffs. He's looking for something. To me, he's looking for any reason not to go to Florida State. I would love to have him. I want him, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on it. I don't think he's coming. Joel says Dent at corner instead of safety will allow him to show. I thought Dent played a hell of a game when he played corner against Arizona State. It was the best he had looked all season. But I expect big things from the secondary as a whole, if I'm being honest with you. So I won't even single out one player from the secondary. I think the whole secondary just is going to be that much better. Most of these guys are tired of losing to sorry-ass Miami team. We will win. Shouldn't have lost the games we lost. Now, we were kind of cheated 2 years ago because that was obviously not a forward lateral. Should have had that touchdown. But even then, you don't give up that type of lead. And again, in last year, you can't lose to that caliber of team. Miami was not a good team. Obviously losing to FIU and Louisiana Tech. And yet somehow you come out there and you lose that game. That's ridiculous. Not only do you lose it at home and you lose it in a dominating fashion. Don't even get me started on that crap. Because I even did a halftime video saying if they didn't turn it around, Willie Taggart needed to be fired then and there. And sure enough, that happened. Denton's going to make moves next season. He should, as should the whole secondary. That's what I'm saying. I think the whole secondary as a whole needs a bunch of improvement. This boy is fighting his sleep. Give me five minutes, guys. I'm going to make him something. A bottle or something. He should be down for the count. Be right back. I'll be right back. All right, we're back in action. Joel says, how was Johnson at center not working? Wasn't he the top center recruit at the time? We stole him from Bama. Yep. Babion was number one center in his class. We, Lake Gibson alum, just like myself. And, yeah, don't know what happened. Baselli's been a better player. Baselli's been a better player than Babion. The sad part about that is Baselli quit football, comes back last year, being out of football shape and was better. I'm interested to see Baselli full year in the program, back in the program, back playing in football shape, in the weight room. I think you can see a big year from Baselli. Big year from Baselli. And his dad's a Hall of Famer, so he's got it in him. I think Baselli will start and should start. Slow down there. Boy, greedy. But I got Baselli. I think Baselli should start it. And they might need to consider maybe moving Baby on the tackle. Guard. Not tackle, but guard. You know? He's a big body. But I think Baselli's a better starting center. Man, I got 12 people in the chat. What's going on, everybody? If you're tuning in to Polk County Know, we dive on Saturday Night Live. Hit the like button, man. Share it with your friends who ain't doing anything else and they like us on this Saturday Night Live. What time is it where y'all at? Matter of fact, y'all ain't got to tell me. I already know. If you're on the East Coast, it's almost midnight. If you're on Central Time Zone, you're not quite there just yet. Hey, I can keep it going or we can cut it off. I just let you guys run the chat, man. You guys tell me what to do. Me, it's only 6. It's almost 7 o'clock where I'm at, so I got a whole night ahead of me. We're just kicking it, having a good time tonight, like we do every Saturday night. This is a every Saturday night thing. Saturday Night Live, Super Bowl Eve. If you are new, man, welcome, and I appreciate you for tuning in. If you are a returner, welcome, and I appreciate you for staying with me as we continue to grow Polk County and Old Nation and do our thing. And as you can hear, Junior in the background, he said uh-oh because he's throwing stuff being a badass. So Baselli with the Pope and Henry or Scott by his side. Yeah, Joe, that's what I would go with. I like, I'm so intrigued by watching Henry, man. I really want to see how good he is, if he's any good. He looks the part, if you've seen him. He looks the part. I'm very intrigued by Henry. I hope Dante Lucas, I hope Pope is ready. If not, you know, I guess Brady Scott could fill in there. I'm the UCLA offensive lineman is a guard too. Maybe he takes one of those spots if we can land him. That might be your interior offensive line though. Yep, for sure. That's a good point, Polk. And injuries should decline due to conditioning and weight lifting emphasis. Yeah, I hope so. I like Jeff Scott. That's another thing when asked about whether or not I like this staff. I like Jeff Scott and what he's been doing so far. Those guys look like they are just hitting it hard and really putting in the work, man. What do you think of Travis J? I'm excited to watch Travis J too. My only issue with Travis is he hasn't been able to play football in a year. So Uh, hopefully he's in shape. Hopefully he's ready to go. Travis J could come in and take a starting spot as well. I was so mad we didn't get to see him last year. But that's a guy that's super talented. And they've even Kendall Briles was also talking about possibly playing Travis J at the offensive side of the football because he's that type of player. Keep an lookout for Travis J. I like that you brought him up, Chris, because I think that's definitely a guy to look out for. Gator says, yeah, strength and conditioning you would think would cut down on our injury rate. Yep. And B, all the videos I've seen of strength conditioning program, plus what I've read from recruits, makes me think we new staff is killing. That's what I just brought it up. And from what I've seen so far and what I've heard, just like you, because I don't have any inside sources, man. I watch and listen and read the same stuff that all you guys read. Then I just give my opinion on it. But for sure, it looks like they're really grinding, hitting the ground running, like what I've seen from it so far. Travis J has been compared to Derwin James, but I know nothing about him. I wouldn't call him a Derwin. He's not the size of Derwin. Until I watch him, I've only seen one Derwin James. But I think he's a player though. I think he's a player. Every recruit is giving rave reviews on the workouts, and that's what we need. That's another. Well, if I circle back to talking about this staff, man, that's another positive. I haven't heard anything bad. Come on, why? Why you do this to me? Whereas I can go through Willie Taggart's tenure, and there are people like last week I talked about Gavin and how everybody was on Gavin's case for saying the truth. And I was the only one, at least as far as like the podcast and everybody that has their own channel, I feel like I was the only one that was like on the side of Keith Gavin. And yeah, Keith Gavin wasn't a great player, but that don't mean he lied. And Keith Gavin wasn't the only one who said these things about the Willie Taggart era. So I haven't heard any of that about what's going on so far. No recruits coming on campus saying these guys don't look like they're focused on winning. They just look like they're focused on having a good time and playing. You don't hear that anymore, and that is always a plus. Culture change. That's what we need. Culture change. Derwin James, that's big. Yeah, exactly. I haven't heard quite Derwin. Gotta watch him first. But Derwin's big shoes to fill. Gavin was never given a chance. I don't agree with that so much, Joel. Gavin was given plenty of chances. He just wasn't good, in my opinion. Gavin started. Even with all of Gavin's mistakes and drops, Gavin played just about every snap. He was still a starter on opposite of Terry. And regardless whether he wasn't given a chance or not, guess what? He still just was giving an opinion on what he thought about the program. It's not like, to me, he never had a gripe to feel against Willie Taggart. I thought Taggart gave Gavin plenty of chances and opportunities to be good. Okay, yeah. Okay, as far as coaching, yeah. Now there's some truth serum to that. Hard to be good when who the hell's coaching you? You get recruited, Lauren Dawsey's your coach. Well, he's not a very good wide receiver coach to begin with. Then David Kelly's your coach. Exactly. And then finally you get Dugans, but by that time, let's just say you were probably damaged goods. Damaged goods. See, I thought if I fed you, you'd go to bed, but nope. You just more turned up. That's right. Yeah, that's my thing, Walt. It never, regardless on what he accomplished on the football field, doesn't mean he was a liar or his opinion is invalid. And in my opinion, it's more valid because it's been verified by other people. Recruits have said the same thing. These guys weren't focused on winning; they just were having fun. I want to go to somewhere where it's ready to win. Like too many other people said it for it not to be true. I can't wait to see Norvell have a meltdown on the sideline. Some emotion too will be a breath of fresh air. So that's the one thing, MB, that I never got on Willie about nor cared about, right? Everybody has a different leadership style. Not everybody's a yeller. Not everybody's gonna curse you out. Tony Dungy, I don't think you can find a tape of Tony Dungy yelling at anybody, cursing anybody, right? Andy Reid. You see it sometimes, but Andy Reid has a very calm demeanor on the sideline. Not everybody's not a rah, 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 rah guy. I never had a problem with Taggart's demeanor. So that never bothered me. But everything gets criticized when you find out all the stuff that's going on in the background. But I never had a problem with the way Taggart conducted himself on the sidelines. It's Saturday night for baby Gnome too. Yes. Yeah, but still early for him. He don't look like he gonna sleep no time soon. Again, it's only 7 o'clock for us. Norvell makes you want to go to war. So he does have that it fact. Like Norvell does have that. When you hear him talk, you get kind of captivated by what he's saying. Definitely, he has that to him. In the speeches I've heard him give to the team and so forth, and even his introductory press conference, he has that. What we like to call in the military, he has that command presence, where when he talks, you listen. He gonna be a preacher or a singer or a rapper or I don't care what he is. I'm gonna support him regardless. But he keeps reaching for this mic, man. Probably because it's just gold and shiny. He just wants to play with it. He is a handful. Obviously, it didn't work. It could have if he really well organized. Right. So the calm demeanor, it gets criticized because nothing else was good. Because he wasn't organized. Because he didn't manage people or didn't manage personnel, didn't manage players. All of that was all messed up. So that's why everybody was getting on. Well, damn, at least show some emotion on the sideline. If you ain't gonna do anything else, I completely understand it. It's just not something I ever cared to criticize. I'd much rather criticize the fact that you can't coach your way out of a plastic bag than talk about whether or not you're yelling at officials or showing any emotion on the sideline. I'd much rather talk about the fact that you run an offense and your guys can't get lined up correctly. You mismanage the last few plays of the Wake Forest game and you're forced to kick a 50-something yard field goal and you miss it, of course. That type of thing, I'll criticize all day. First game against Virginia Tech, go down, Nooney Murray scores a touchdown, but instead of challenging it, which would have been a touchdown, instead of challenging it, you line up too quick, false start, you miss your chance. Those things I'll criticize. I'm not going to criticize how much you yell on the sideline. That's just me personally. It's 7 o'clock. What side of the world are you on? Oh, I'm in Hawaii, Joel. I am in Hawaii. It is 7 o'clock in the evening. And it sounds like your mom just got home, so you can get out of my hair. Yeah, man, I'm in Hawaii. Living that island life. Hey, I'm tight end. I'm backwards. What am I going to do? Exactly. Oh, my Jesus, what do you want? I'm gonna go drop you off. Hello. Yeah, somebody needs to get him. Like my nails? You got your nails done? Yeah. Let me see. This is my other munchkin. So you guys can see her. But yeah, take your brother. Get him out of my hands. Don't want him no more. Bye-bye. 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 You can go to the Boise State game. No, hell, I can't. Oh, you mean like, yeah, the Boise State plays Hawaii usually. Hawaii games would be so boring, though. Let me close this door. But yeah, man. I'm out here in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, giving y'all all the Florida State news and notes I can. Trust and believe FSU will win 10 plus. First year 10 plus game, that's a bit of a tall task in my opinion. There will be bumps and bruises, not to mention depending on your quarterback. Let's just go ahead and say it's Chuba from day one. Freshman's gonna have some ups and downs. Cute kids, they must take after their mother. They probably do. I ain't the best looking feller. But I appreciate the compliment, Gator. But yeah, I mean, if Chuba's your day one guy, man, you're gonna have ups and downs. If Blackman's your day one guy, you know we're not winning 10 plus. So you can cancel Christmas on that. Joel says 9 wins, worst case scenario. Okay, that's more in the realm that I'm with. I'm with 8 to 9 personally. More so leaning towards 8. I think let's look at the schedule, right? Let's look at the schedule. Okay, here we go. Saturday, we got West Virginia. So let's say that's West Virginia in Atlanta. It should be a win. West Virginia's not a good football team. Sanford's a win. Boise at Boise's tough. It's tough. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's not tough. It should be a win, but that's going to be tough. And at Boise State, that'll be, if it's Chuba's first real road game, like in a hostile environment. I'm predicting all these games if it's Chuba Purdy's our starter. I mean that should whether or not it should be a win or not we can debate, but I think that's a tough game regardless. You know what? I'll go L just for the hell of it. I'm gonna go L just for the hell of it. I think we should beat them too, but I'll just go L for the hell of it. Freshman quarterback on a blue turf, first time on the road. I'll just go L. So that leaves us at 2-1. Now we got NC State. We're at NC State October 3rd. NC State tends to play us tough when they're at home. Again, talent-wise, when you look at this schedule, it's easy to say 10 wins. I'm just trying to be as realistic as possible when I start talking about these games. And just going over the years and the evidence, we've been played tough by NC State at home when they're at home. But I'm gonna give us the W. We're 3-1 going into Clemson. We'll take the L at Clemson. We're 3-2. Wake's losing a lot. We're 4-2. Louisville to me is no good. 5-2. Pitt 6-2. Now you have Miami at Miami, which is really our second home. What did I say? We're 6-2 at this point, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-2 after beat Miami. 8, 9, and then so 9-3. 9-3 makes some sense. And then the reason I go 8 is because you could lose another game, right? You could very easily lose to a Louisville at Louisville. Like, that's possible. Boston College has been a tough game for us the last few couple years. Again, when you have a freshman quarterback, those type of things will happen. But to me, 8+ wins is yeah. That's a hell of an improvement in my opinion. And who knows, by the end of the year, if everything's clicking right, that Florida game, maybe we don't just count that as a straight loss. That maybe that game's up for grabs. And Chris says the only game he thinks we lose is Clemson. That's fair. If Matt Brown with a 2-win Tar Heel team can do that to Clemson this year, team could as well. Good point. Tar Heels turned it around and they had a freshman quarterback. Yeah, good point. MB says I could see us losing to Louisville. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I could see another loss sneaking in there somewhere. Right? I think your 50-50 games are Boise State, NC State, Louisville, Miami, and Florida. You don't have to agree with me, but those are when I say 50-50, those are your toss-up games where I'm like, should we beat Boise? Sure we should. But that's away. Probably going to be a primetime game or around that time. I could see that being a tough environment for a newly crowned quarterback. NC State always plays us tough when they're at home. Same thing with Louisville. They always seem to play better at home. I'm going Miami because even though the Hard Rock is our second home, that's Doak South, as we all know, they do have a new quarterback. They got a new offensive coordinator. Manny Diaz is going to be coaching for his life. It's possible that could be a tough game. And then, of course, Florida. That'd be on the road in Gainesville. That will be a tough environment. Okay, young Noel, I'm calling tonight. Great show as always. About to my Noel family. Keep chopping. Hey, see you, Gator. Appreciate you for tuning in as always, man. Have a good night. MB says, see, I think our floor is 6 wins. We got 6 wins with no coaching. And Norvell might be trash. But if we blow out West Virginia, we should. Yeah, so we got 6 wins with. So your whole premise is. Well, we got 6 wins with bad coaching. We can get at least 6 wins. I hear you. I understand where you're coming from. And 6 wins would be a bad season. Louisville could have won if we didn't steal their best players. Yeah, we took all their guys. Sugar Cane's got Telly. They got Telly Lockett. They hired him. Good for them. I hear Boise States have a lot of old linemen to replace. I'll take FSU in that one. Yeah, they do. I think that was the strength going into this game this year. Everybody was saying like the whole offensive line was full of seniors. So you're right on that. It's still an away game. It's still a night game. So that's why I say what I say. Just trying to bring a little bit of, it's too easy for me to be like, oh, we're going to win every game. Trying to just bring a little bit of perspective or whatever you call it, you know. Uh, but yeah. But yeah, man, if you haven't already, 9 people in here with 6 likes. If you haven't hit it, man, hit the like button. Uh, Again, appreciate you for tuning in to me, man. Saturday Night Live. Don't know how much further I'm going to go. We've already been on here 2 hours plus. Again, if the people want it, I'll keep giving it to you. But we already had a couple people call it a night. I know it's going on midnight. I think it's past midnight for most of you guys. So you just let me know. I'll probably be on here 30 minutes more, or we can cut it off now, but about 30 minutes or so more. We still got a lot to talk about if y'all want to, man. 11 people with 7 likes. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. If you've just tuned in, man, we're on Saturday Night Live, baby. MB says, I'm guessing 7 to 8 with some tough losses, just because, yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with it. I mean, new coaching, new quarterback, just 8 wins. 8 wins, and now you cooking with something. Now you see them recruits saying, oh, okay, we doing something good. We doing something good. We should be angry against Boise. If you beat Boise, I'll go 8. If you lose to Boise, to me, which is possible, then, well, no, I take that back. If you beat Boise, I'm going 9 plus wins. If you lose to Boise, I'll stick with 8. That Boise game, to me, is one of the bigger games because I can see ourselves going to Boise and losing that game. Bobby say Tampa, Florida. Yes, sir. Tampa, Florida in the high. 9 likes. All right, man. Again, appreciate you if you're smashing that like button. I try to do this every Saturday. We on Saturday Night Live. Super Bowl Eve. Who y'all got in the Super Bowl tomorrow? I got the Chiefs. Who y'all got? I got Derek. I got Nandi and Cam Irvin getting some rings. I got to go with the Chiefs. And they stole the war chant from us, but I'm still go with the Chiefs. Going with the Chiefs. If we don't win 9, I'll wear a Rainbow Warrior jersey for a whole week. Joe, where are you from? Can you even find a Rainbow Warrior jersey where you're from? Like, I've never seen a Rainbow Warrior jersey outside of Hawaii. Everybody's got the Chiefs. Yep, that's what we want, man. We're going for the Chiefs over here. San Francisco, but I prefer the Chiefs to win it. Okay. West Virginia is the most important game for Norvell to start out the season. Well, yeah, you need a good showing against West Virginia. Remember we said the same thing about Taggart, about that Virginia Tech game, and look how that game turned out. But I don't think West Virginia is a good team, though. But if you want to say that's the most important game, I can't argue with it because it's the first time we're going to see his product on field. So it definitely needs to impress. So I can't argue with that point. I got 49ers. Defense wins championships. Defense does win championships, but I don't know if we've seen a quarterback and an offense like this. If I'm being honest, I don't know. I don't know if we've seen a quarterback or an offense like this. Mahomes is just different. And guys like Tyreek and Sammy Watkins, if the Niners don't abandon that zone, they could get the top blown off of them real quick. And if Garoppolo's forced to play catch up, yeah, they could be in trouble for real. I'm with you, but they get it from Dion. That came from us. The Chiefs get it from Dion. I know the Braves, I think, got it from Dion. I don't know where the Chiefs got their shit from. If the Chiefs can stop the running game, I think the 49ers are going to be in trouble. Chiefs got to stop the running game, though. If they're able to run for 200 yards like San Francisco did in that against Green Bay, it's yeah. Running and playing that type of defense, you're guaranteed to win then. See what we got. No updates on the official visits that I see so far. Yeah, I don't see any updates as of yet. I will say this: Ernie Sims is coaching at USF now. That's pretty cool. Chiefs did stop Derrick Henry. Good point, MB. I just, you know, they did stop him. So it'll be interesting to see. I think we might be in for one of the better Super Bowls, like one of the most intriguing matchups we've seen in a while. So yep, no updates yet. I probably don't know if we'll get any recruits this weekend, to be honest. Can't find anything on Lundy or Williams or anything. Joel says, how do you go from Tallahassee to a grass skirt? Well, I'm not from Tallahassee, for one. I'm from Lakeland, Florida, Polk County. And for two, I'm stationed out here, so it's nice out here in Hawaii. Wouldn't have got here if it wasn't, but I'm stationed out here, so just chilling. Good weather. Can't be too mad at it. Chris says they got it from the Braves. Okay, I never knew how the Chiefs got it. I had heard that the Braves got it from Dion, but I never heard how the Chiefs got it. What's the latest on Zach Evans? There's nothing to report on Zach Evans. He never showed up. FSU ain't recruiting him. He ain't in the running. There's nothing. There is no latest. He was just trolling like I thought. He never had any intentions of showing up on campus. I think we pulled Lundy and Williams. Michael Langston wrote good stuff on both of them. Lundy's parents want him at FSU. Okay, that's good. See, I haven't seen that yet, but if it comes from Langston, I believe it. Yep, Lakeland, Florida, man. That's me. Lundy's parents want him at FSU. That's what's up. Again, I'm not the highest on Lundy, but I understand why people like him, and I hope it proves me wrong. Williams, I'm very intrigued by a 6'3", 200-pound safety. Yep, I'm rooting for Nandi. I'm rooting for Cam. I want them two guys to get Super Bowl rings. Cam don't really get that much playing time. Nandi gets a good rotation on the defensive line, so we'll see how he does. We'll see how he plays. Them two guys need to teach those Chiefs fans how to really tomahawk chop it. Because they be looking suspect, man. They be looking bad. Yeah, but I think we gonna wrap it up here. We've been going strong, over 2 hours long, 2 hours and 30 minutes. We covered a lot tonight, man. If you like what you see, hit that like button, subscribe, share it. I think everybody in here is a subscriber, so I appreciate you. But share it with your friends, man. If you got other people that ain't doing nothing on Saturday night, but they love some Seminole talk, man, let them know about Saturday Night Live. NBA said, although Williams left to go visit Indiana today, super bizarre there. Oh, he did. Williams left to go to Indiana. Yeah, that's kind of weird, but that might just been a in his plans. I don't see an Alabama kid going all the way up there, but you never know. Ain't nothing like Doak. Hey, ain't nothing like Saturday Night Live, man, with the Polk County. No, but we are gonna wrap it up, man. If you have any last things you want to talk about, this is your last chance. If not, again, I appreciate you for tuning in to me. I appreciate you for spreading the word. If you do, every Saturday, man, this is what I like to do. Have some fun, do these live streams, and we kick it. Watch out for my midweek news and notes. Those always up during the midweek, whether that's a Wednesday or a Thursday. I try to get multiple videos of you out for you guys throughout the week. So always be on the lookout. Hey, Joel, you ain't got to thank me for the service, but it's all good, man. Appreciate the love. And yep. So this is it, man. Stay classy, Seminoles. Chop it up. Have a good rest of your night. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. And we'll see you next week on Saturday Night Live.